Is this fentanyl problem one of the most dangerous things we're facing right now in our country?
I believe very strongly this is an existential threat to the United States. China and Mexico are flooding our city streets with poison. When you talk about 100,000 overdose deaths, 64,000 of those overdose deaths directly related to synthetic opioids, mostly fentanyl, this is a big issue and a major threat to the United States, a public health and public safety threat.
Are the cartels aware of the political climate here where drugs are essentially legal now because of the changes in the law? Do they know this is a ripe community?
It's a good question, but I would say that the drug cartels have absolutely no concern whatsoever for the legalization or the criminality that's associated with drug trafficking. For them, it's all about making money. This is a $500 billion a year business for the drug cartels. They're making a lot of money. They're looking to drive addiction. Fentanyl is highly addicting. And for them, it's all about how much fentanyl can they get onto the city streets.
Well, let's talk about these so-called Mexi Blues, these fake Oxy 30s. What are these cartel chemists like? How much training do they have? You know, is this a lab with people in white coats mixing up batches? Or you've seen some of the operations there. What is it like?
So I think we first have to look at, where does this start? It starts in China. It starts in places like India, and China needs to be held more responsible for this. They're a major contributor to the chemicals, the precursor chemicals that are getting into Mexico, and what the Mexican cartels are doing is they're using very rudimentary, very basic, lab infrastructure, chemistry type environments to create these pills with very little, if no, quality control. These super labs are basically in every state in Mexico. What China and India are doing are flooding Mexico with these precursor chemicals, predominantly fentanyl, right? And that fentanyl is being mixed into these pills and this meth being mass produced to drive addiction, right? So when we see these overdose deaths increase, 100,000 overdose deaths in the last year, that's significantly higher than years past. When you talk about one person dying every 5 minutes from an overdose, 275 people a day dying of an overdose, those are astronomical numbers. If this were an airliner that crashed with 275 souls on it every day, what would we be doing?
It'd lead the news every night.
Every night.
Why would the cartels want to kill their customers if we have so many people overdosing from this drug?
We need to go back to what motivates and what drives the cartels. It's about money. And when it's about money, their inventiveness, their imagination and innovation is as great as some of our most successful businesses in the world. Their number one goal is to get their product, this highly addictive product, from production through transportation to distribution into the city streets. For them, driving addiction or increasing addiction by lacing these counterfeit pills with more fentanyl and then getting more people addicted is part of their business model. The more people that they can get addicted, the more pills they're going to need to sell, the more pills that they'll move into the U.S. market, and the more money they'll make. It's all about making money. They don't have a care in the world about the people that are unfortunately dying from these overdose deaths.
Is it as bad right now as you've ever seen it with the fentanyl?
I think it is. I think this is the most significant problem that we've had in a long time. If we just look at the last 4 months of last year, in a very directed, very concentrated enforcement operation in the Pacific Northwest, quite honestly throughout the United States, the Seattle Field Division seized 1.4 million fentanyl-laced counterfeit pills. We seized approximately 200 firearms and over $2.1 or $2.3 million from these different drug trafficking organizations.
Did it frustrate the cartels? Did you put a dent in their business?
So David, I think every successful operation is potentially frustrating to the cartels. Every time we remove their product from the streets without them gaining a dollar or yielding any kind of profit is disruptive. But more importantly, we're saving lives. We're taking and removing very dangerous, poisonous drugs from the city streets. When we talk about taking 12 kilos of pure fentanyl out of circulation, that's enough fentanyl to kill every person in the state of Washington.